Is it here? You really got me this from the US, Papa?
I did. It took a long time to get here, but it's finally home.
In the 80s, the world felt out of reach. Innovation wasn't something we lived, it was something we heard about, arriving in boxes from across the ocean. We didn't build the future back then. We waited for it. We were the recipients of someone else's imagination. But while we watched, we were learning. India didn't stand still. A silent revolution was taking shape, fueled not by proximity but by grit and late-night lines of code. A generation rose up that refused to believe innovation had a fixed address. We stopped being users and became architects. From that shift, Peppermint Robotics was born. This wasn't about building just another machine. It was about redefining autonomy, proving that robots could belong anywhere and transform everything. The narrative has flipped. The boy who once waited for a shipment from the US is now the entrepreneur shipping the world's most advanced autonomous robots back to the world. What was once received is now created. What once inspired us is now being redefined by us. We're no longer waiting for the future to arrive at our doorstep. We're building it. Right here.
Hi. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Ascent. Look around for a moment. Look at the person next to you, around you. You will not see people who are just observers of the acceleration that the facility management industry is seeing today. You are looking at people who are creating it. And for this creation, we are here today. This evening exists to accelerate facility management to the next step. The name Ascent was deliberated upon a lot. It's not review, it's not conference, because it's not review, it's not conference, because FM industry in India today is not taking incremental steps. We are almost climbing a new ladder every day, climbing a new step every day and taking it to the next level. Imagine 5 years back or 6 years back, did we imagine that we would have robots that are made here? Right, today we are at that stage. So that's the reason we are here, to the next level. On that note, I heartily, warmly welcome all of you on behalf of the Peppermint Robotics family, and thank you so much for making it from your busy schedules and coming down here. Thank you so much. Over to Miraj, our host for the evening.
We've up on stage our keynote speaker of the day. Our keynote speaker of the day is Ashish Poddar, Senior Executive Director, Global Workplace Solutions at CBRE. And can I please have a huge round of applause to bring him on stage?
Can you hear me? Oh, right, brilliant. And hopefully technology will work. If you can, got some slides there? Ah, okay, yeah. All right, so a couple of days, the lights are very bright, sorry, I'll just keep moving about. Some of you would have been at the NASSCOM summit, just happening over the last couple of days. So just kind of what Kiran was mentioning, we're actually taking a jump ahead in terms of time, in terms of how the industry is moving. And a lot of the times, since I think the room is full of facility managers, we can sometimes only move at the pace that our clients allow us to move. Right? We can't move ahead. We may want to do something else, but we are constrained by how fast our clients are moving. So what my realization over the last couple of days has been that the clients are really, everybody is talking about AI. I was there, like I said, last couple of days, it's fresh in my mind because it was a NASSCOM summit, everybody was a technology company, and for all of us, technology companies are a large part of the FM business, they are a large part of real estate, they are a large part of the occupiers fraternity that occupies the real estate that is being built. Obviously, there is maturity now in terms of other asset classes, but what I picked up from there is everybody is kind of saying, oh, AI, and then the second buzzword was GCC. So I'm sure that rings a bell, right? Everyone seems to be slightly down on energy, but anyway, I'll try and see what it is. So those are the two keywords. So what I heard from them is that, they are really want to accelerate the way that they are doing business. So what I could sense is it's probably time where we've got to also rethink in terms of what are we supposed to do and how are we supposed to, for example, deliver our services. Hence this just popular saying, the times, they are changing. And what's changing really is everything. What's changing is the workplace, what's changing is workforces and the work itself. So everybody now begin to think of, AI now, AI is the buzzword, so let's think what we can do. But we are facility managers at the end of the day, majority of us are facility managers in the room. So let's start off with something simpler. The 7 a.m. test. Any guesses in the room why I picked 7 a.m.? Oh, intelligent group, right? First shift. As facility managers, that's how typically is where we start our day, the first shift. Some facility managers here, a lot of people who run campuses, a lot of people who, for example, otherwise run large businesses. And again, a large part of our workforce ends up coming into the facility at 7 a.m. What's happening at 7 a.m.? What are you doing as a facility manager? You're trying to kind of go through the checklist. Okay, I'm kind of reaching my site. Okay, washrooms, important, passages. Hopefully this is taken care of. This is how the sequence of events are. That's typically what your checklist is in your mind. Everyone's going through that saying, okay, everything seems to be here. This is what my plan for the day looks like. And suddenly, depending on who you are, if you're a facility manager, you get a call. But if somebody is in the management, for example, you probably get a text because the manager is too afraid to call you in the morning at 7 a.m. So you get a text saying, sir, shortage of housekeeping boys. That's how typically each one of us starts our day now. Whoops, what has happened? Oi, sorry. Okay, so when that happens, it's the morning that you dread. You don't want to wake up to a scenario where you've got a campus to take care of. You go to an airport to, for example, I met somebody who's taking care of airports. Just imagine you're managing a large campus. There was a little bit of a wind storm, so to speak, and your campus kind of looks like this. This image is actually an AI-generated image, hence you'll see it slightly out of proportion, but then that's what AI is able to do today. Just imagine, what do we do? And this is a scenario which each one of us goes through practically every day now. I don't know why, but that's a reality. The day you don't get a message, you're probably very, very lucky. You're doing something right. But many of these scenarios repeat more and more frequently every day. What does that mean? It's when the basics fail, pretty much everything fails. You're just trying to then play catch up. So what does that mean? It's today, the basic problem is our biggest problem. As facility managers, just go back a few minutes as to what I was talking about. I was talking about AI. I was talking about things, big things. AI will change the world. IT companies are all planning about the next generation, but we are still stuck somewhere here. And there are genuine reasons why this is happening. The staffing volatility is now structural. And like I said, I don't need to tell you this. Each one of you knows this because each one of you is living it every day. I am just reinforcing what I am seeing it from maybe slightly afar. And if this resonates, it should really, really mean, okay, what do we need to do about this? It's typically a no-show. Salary credit, the boy decides not to turn up the next day. Phones have been switched off. 2 days later, 3 days later, you probably realize that he's already abandoned and he's left. Doesn't care. What's strange is, earlier everybody used to fight for a day's salary. Now people are saying, I don't get paid for a week, that's fine. Why have I done that? The guy's probably enjoying the gig economy. He's bought himself a scooter from his last salary, he's paid his EMI, and he's now delivering food, or he's delivering some packages for our Zepto or Blinkit, for whatever that is. They want that freedom. It's becoming a real issue. The manpower issue is real and it's here to stay. It's structural now. It's not going to go away unless we do something different. Whenever we get people, they will always be untrained. The domino effect for us, each one of us in the room, typically is that one vacant shift becomes a complete service failure because everything then fails, and that's the biggest risk for us in our business. All the other 99 good things that each one of us does has really, really no other meaning left because the basics have abandoned us. So obviously, typically, the question everyone asks us, but nobody gives us an answer. What are those typical questions? And I'm sure this will again be something that each one of you hears. They're saying, my client will ask me saying, how are you using technology? Why did you not know the person is not coming? Use technology, I don't care. Where is your automation roadmap? They don't want to pay us, but then they'll expect that everything is automated. Can't you just put a robot to do the job? How many of us get asked the question when there is a shortage, and the next day when we go back with a solution, nobody is really worried about it. Everybody will only ask the question, but what's the answer? I don't know. Does anybody in the room know? We all probably think there is some answer, but we are again constrained by what the environment today is, and it's for us to change the environment. So what is my response to this? How do I see this situation? This is my response to a particular situation. What I'm saying is use automation where the work is repetitive, it's measurable and high coverage. But I cannot have an AI clean washrooms or clean passages. I need people at the end of the day. That's the nature of our business. So we need to redeploy our people where it needs a little bit of judgment, detailing, and guest interaction. Unless we do this, given the environment where manpower will continue to become a challenge, you've got the gig economy, you've got options for a lot of people. They want to enjoy the freedom. They don't want to be bound by an 8-hour shift, for example. Unless we change some things, it'll never make our 7 a.m. peaceful. So that's how I look at the situation. And I would really encourage everybody in the room to look at this situation from this perspective to say, yes, I can't do away with it, but I need to design this upfront and look at where the automation helps, where the robotic typically can help us. So you've got to really think of this not as an automated solution or as a manpower solution, but look at it as a blended workforce. You've got to treat that robot as a person. What do you do with a person? You run through an induction program, right? You train him. What else do you do with him? You evaluate his performance. You check. You take him through an appraisal process. And if he's not doing well, what do? You probably ask him to leave the organization. Treat the robot as exactly that person on your payroll. You will have to take him through those cycles. So look at him like a blended workforce. It's not A or B, it's an A plus B. That workforce is what the future is. If we do not do this, we will be left behind. Look at that not as savings. That comes secondary. Today, the misnomer is clients say, I want savings, and Kiran will probably do a good job of selling, saying, I'm going to save a lot of money for you because that's what sells. He's got to also sell his products. And he's standing here, he's laughing. The fact of the matter is, don't look at that as savings. It's actually to get you assurance of your basics. It's for you to ensure that the basics get attended to by that mix of automation, by that mix of robotics, and with that blended workforce, you're saying, listen, my basics taken care of. Now that I have more stability, I don't have that ups and downs of manpower and that instability, I am then able to also drive efficiency. So that comes second. So standardization will obviously always beat those heroics. It has to be something that every shift has to be a part of the solution. What's important, and again, probably Kiran's the best person to talk about it, is how do you digitize this visibility from I hope it happened to I know it happened. And this can happen through a mix. It could be either people or it could be robotics. At the end of the day, how do you know that that person has done it or that robot has done it? Like I said, it's a blended workforce. Don't differentiate between what a robot does and a person does. They are one and the same. Treat him like a person. You'll be more successful in terms of how you look at the holistic solution of the outcomes that the solution gives you. So when you give this visibility, you're able to give the client and the whole team an assurance that it has actually happened. Look at where the high stakes are, look at common areas, look at high footfall areas, and obviously treat staffing like a supply chain. What do you do with supply chain? When you're buying a product, what do? You typically don't rely on just one supplier, right? You have a backup. You've got to look at workforce staffing now as a supply chain solution. It might seem a little harsh, it might seem a little impersonal. If there's an HR person in the room, he'll probably say, what the hell am I talking about? But look at it dispassionately. It's for you to have plan Bs. It's for you to look at those micro shifts which are real, which are happening all the time. And you've got to kind of look at it as the backfills. So at the end of the day, you're looking to maintain the standards while you drive savings. Right, just a couple of slides. before I probably jump off. Here's what the India's automation runway looks like. Very, very stark numbers. This is essentially what the robot density is per 10,000 workers. And sometimes when you look at numbers, it actually tells you what the story is, that, oh, India is a very, very labor-intensive market. So everybody talks about saying, oh, labor is cheap in India. It's no longer cheap. When you look at the productivity, honestly, the productivity of labor for the outcomes that we do, and maybe it's also to do with how we use and consume offices, because we make it so dirty that we need more cleaning. Maybe that's the issue. But at the end of the day, if you were to measure the productivity of labor and the cleaning that they undertake, we are no longer cheap. That cost of labor, because you're putting more people to do that cleaning, is just probably about, I would say, about half, if I can be very, very generous, of a very matured market. Which means, look at the dollar and the rupee, but if I'm spending half the money and efficiency of cleaning like a matured market, I'm not doing justice to it. Which means we are overspending on maintenance, generally, from an efficiency perspective. But this is what the runway is. South Korea, for example, has 1,000 robots per 10,000 workers, whereas India has about 7. China is somewhere in the middle. And when we think of China, we think of a lot of mechanization. But that's what it means for us. What it means is embed the automation from the grounds up. Don't try and look at undoing or change management. That's what never works. And incidentally, Kiran, we were just talking about it 5 minutes back. A lot of the clients don't want to make changes. They think that change management is going to put trouble. I don't want to change my SOP. That becomes an issue. Embed the solution upfront. That's what our learning has been. Design the operating models where people and machines work together as one team. Like I said, treat him like a human being. And then obviously make outcomes visible. The more data you're able to present, the more assurance people get of this blended workforce. Right? Now just again, I'll probably leave this whole robotics story here, because while we are currently busy, like I was saying, from what I'm hearing over the last couple of days of the NASSCOM and meeting more and more clients, the workplace is beginning to change once again. And when did we last have that big change? Post-COVID, everyone knew how the whole workplace completely changed. And that same thing is what I am seeing now as trends when I'm talking to my customers, when I'm talking to my clients. And we can be busy here solving the manpower issue, but the workplace would have changed by then. And a couple of very, very interesting aspects. When I'm meeting clients, and I'll come to the headline, but when I'm meeting clients, everybody is telling me that I have a growth target of 20%. So I'm going to grow my top line by 20%. I'm going to have sales of 20%. But I've been told by my larger parent company that you have to achieve this without a headcount growth. Now look at GCCs typically, look at companies, IT companies. They are saying, I cannot hire more people, but I have to do 20% more business. Unheard of, right? It's like I'm telling you, manage one more building, but I will not give you additional janitor, or I will not give you additional facility managers. How is it possible? That's because everybody is investing now in AI. They are saying that 20 to 25% of entry-level tech jobs would be consolidated by the use of AI and automation. And that's an EY statistics I'm referring to. So it's a published white paper. 62% of organizations today are now experimenting with AI agents. And this is a McKinsey 2025 paper. And between 25 and 26, this probably now is 100%. I don't see any organization which is not talking about AI. That's the universe out there. This is the universe that impacts all of us sitting in this room. That's what the clients are doing. Those are the changes that are happening at the client side. What's this AI impact doing? Is look at the headline. You typically, all organizations had workforces which were like a pyramid. You've got the junior workforce at the base of the pyramid, and you've got middle management, and then you've got the senior guys. You've got hierarchical structures. It was a pyramid which is now becoming a diamond. What does that mean? The less hiring, the 20-25% consolidation at the bottom of the pyramid is pushing the base of the pyramid, making it much narrower, which means entry-level jobs, especially in the IT sector, or things like data analyst, stuff like that, will not be the case anymore. That's going to be extremely competitive. I was very, very secretly very happy. I said, finally, an engineer who's sitting there and making software codes or mechanical engineer will finally come back to his trade, and maybe we can hire more mechanical engineers. But that's on a lighter note. But the fact of the matter is, this is going to change how workplaces are being designed. What we are also seeing in terms of design changes now is they're saying that this middle management will be actually managing agentic AI. What it means is that they will be managing, like I said, a robot is a person. Even an AI agent, for example, is being treated like a person, and they are being taken through this entire appraisal cycle. They are being inducted, trained, evaluated, and then either retired or put in a performance improvement plan, which means more prompts to make it smarter. You need more managers to manage those virtual workers, which means more individual contributor roles now. Today, everybody is looking at collab spaces in offices, let teams come together. That is needed when you're designing an AI agent. But once you've got that whole virtual or robotic teams or AI teams, you need me space versus we space to be able to manage it, which means everybody is now asking that all our offices need to be redesigned. That's coming our way. In the next 2 years, we'll probably see some of this being impacted. Hence, be ready. So just 4 key messages, takeaways from my perspective is look at one, staffing as a supply chain, like I mentioned. Look at mechanization, look at redeployment, robotics, look at for high coverage. Assure the basics, look at, because you need to really protect the brand, you need to adapt, change, innovate. Look at that as a real requirement, because if you do not assure the basics, we don't have a business in mind. And more importantly, lead the 2 workforce future. You'll be managing humans and you'll be managing digital workers as you go forward. What it means is really, as a leadership mantra, it's you manage assets, people, and now AI, and that's the new language that each one of us will be used to. Sorry, just wrapping up now. We live in interesting times, which is why I use the title. The pace of change will shock us, Gen X. But trust me, when we talk to all of the young guys, and now we've got 4 generations, so to speak, working in the same office, for them this pace is very normal. Millennials don't find this troubling, and now you've got the Gen Zs also beginning to enter the workforce, and many of them are actually already in. So the winners will be people who really stay agile all the time. If you think the pace is too fast for us to change, we'll all be in trouble. And hopefully, the robotics answer is something that Kiran will provide us today. All right? Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the patient listening. Thank you.
I'll request you to stay back.
Sure.
May I please bring upon stage Kiran sir and Ronald to felicitate Ashish sir. And can we have a huge round of applause?
Thank you.
Can we have a huge round of applause once again for Ashish sir? Fantastic. So earlier this year, we had a chance to do something very interesting at Peppermint. We've had robots out and about all over the country and the world for a very long period of time. So we thought might as well put them in some kind of competition. So we reached out to all the sites where our robots work and told them, let the robots do their work, and at the end of 3 months, we'll go ahead and see which robots are being used the most. We put it all together and called it the National Cleaning Automation Championships. And a gentleman amongst us here today was very kind enough to launch this. And it gives me immense pleasure and privilege to call upon stage Saji Sebastian, who had launched the National Cleaning Automation Championship, to come on stage and say a few words.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me an immense pleasure to be here. Thank you, Kiran. Thank you, the entire team of Peppermint, for giving me this opportunity to be a part of this fun, once-in-a-lifetime, what you call, start of a cleaning championship, which is basically based out of robots. I still remember all through my life, हमने सिर्फ वो गब्बर सिंह का डायलॉग ही सुना था, कितने आदमी हैं. From there, now the entire thing is moving on to something which is robots. As Ashish rightly said, it's the question of workforce. A force which would displace things. A force which would help us ascend in our thoughts, in the way we carry out our work, and the way we execute things. So when Kiran reached out and said that we had to launch this particular thing, I was very happy, because I believe that till now, our unit economics have not moved away from people, from man hours. I think it's time we move out from there, and I like the metrics that was shared of the event. Something very, very interesting, and the unit economics here changes from per person, per man hour, to something very different. So some of the key, what you call metrics, is that 135 million square feet was cleaned in January, February, and March. 100 plus robots in 80 plus cities and towns of India. 100 plus robots in 80 plus cities and towns of India. I think kudos to all of us to make it happen. 25 robots, over 1 million square feet in this quarter. 25 robots did more than 1 million square feet in this quarter. So that's the area that they got covered. Something, it actually changes. So what did the metrics change to? From per person, per hour, per month, to what? The entire unit metrics has moved to square feet. I like the question that Ashish had asked. The third question in that particular three questions that he had put is that what should be how do you see that entire success? When we change our way of thinking from rudimentary jobs, repetitive jobs, actually moving away from people to a mechanized way or an automated way to do it. And if you're able to measure it, and if you're able to get that right, I think that's where the success lies. And the 7 a.m., the challenge that most of us would face probably would get negated if we have a robot doing, probably more dependable than human being, because we all tend to fall sick. Machines can, but I'm sure there's redundancies that can be built in. Another key metrics, 30 million square feet cleaned in January, and that was the start. People who are not adopting it. I used to call up Miraj and ask, how is it going, what's the response? And he said people are adopting to it. But from there on, we actually landed up doing 135 million square feet. So we did about 135 million square feet. So that means from a 30 million to 135 in 3 months, the entire thing moved up, right? So that's a key takeaway. And I would like to congratulate each of the people who actually were behind these machines and being so involved and making this happen and making the machines perform better and getting utilized better. The areas covered much more. So if you laid out this 135 million square feet as a single corridor, 10 feet wide, it would stretch 2,500 kilometers. That would be, let's say, Kashmir to Kanyakumari. It should be about 2,500 miles. So at Kashmir to Kanyakumari, twice over, all cleaned by robots in 1 quarter. Congratulations to Peppermint for making this happen. More interesting fact, every minute in Q1, robots cleaned 1,040 square feet, roughly the size of a 2 BHK apartment, every 60 seconds, non-stop for 90 days. So I think this gives us a relation, and I think that's where the entire cleaning has to move. Certain activities which can be actually outsourced to a machine, I think that's the way it should be. So from kitne aadmi the to what aaj kuch acha karte hain should be our command. And I think robots is the right way to do something good. Thank you, Peppermint, to make this happen. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Saji sir, for your kind words. May I please bring up on stage Kiran sir again to felicitate Saji sir. Can we have a huge round of applause for Saji sir? Saji sir, you need to stay back on stage. Let me handle the awards. Saji sir thought he's going to get away with just telling some metrics and leave. No, you have to give some awards. Our first category is aviation, transportation, and mobility. Can we bring upon the first award on stage? And the winner is Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel International Airport, Ahmedabad. Can we have the entire team from the Adani Ahmedabad Airport come over and take? Huge round of applause, please. Yes, sir. Why don't you join us on stage as well? Right. The next award in the aviation, transportation, and mobility goes to the Mangalore International Airport. Can we have Mr. Kirtan Shetty, who's traveled all the way from Mangalore, to come on stage as well? The next award in the aviation, transportation, and mobility goes to CLR for the Rajiv Gandhi International Airport, run by GMR in Hyderabad. Can I have Nilesh Pensilvar and Sandeep Yadav come on stage, please? Keep the applause going. The final award in this category goes to the Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj International Airport in Mumbai. Can I please have on stage Mr. Veera Rao and Anandan Nair to take this award? Saji sir, I've just been told that the final award was given to your favorite airport. Is that true?
Yes. So I have been an FM at the head of facilities for Mumbai International Airport for few years. It was one of my most beautiful journey. But if you want to, in case somebody has to really test out the mettle of any innovation in FM space, I think airport is the right place to do that. You get the scale, you get the user feedback, and you have the right team to actually execute it. And Mial has been one of the favorite journeys. So when I met Anandan, I'm the one who interviewed him and selected him, by the way. So considering that, I think it has been one of the most beautiful journey. Airports is the way, like when again Ashish was mentioning about workplace. I think in our business, it is just not workplace. Any place is a place to clean and maintain. And one of them is obviously the airports, where people have so many people moving around and transport. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Saji sir, for presenting the awards. The next category is commercial retail, hospitality, and IT workspaces. Can I please call upon stage Wilson Selvaraj founder of Fesselink, to do the honors for this category. Can we have a huge round of applause for Mr. Wilson? The first award in this category for automation excellence in commercial retail, hospitality, and IT workspaces goes to the Nexus Seawoods Mall. Can I have Mr. Wasim Said and his team please come up on stage? Second award in this category, not far off, goes to Nexus Elante Mall. And can I have Mr. Rakesh Maurya come on stage, please? Spoke about the 80 different cities. One of them was Chandigarh, and Chandigarh is where Rakesh sir came from, and that's the Nexus Seawoods Mall. They've done tremendous work. I can tell you personally, because I monitored this on my own, that if at all he would lag in the leaderboard, he would call you and he would check to see whether the robot is wrong. So you know that he ensured that the robot was right at the end, and so was he, and he won the award. Huge round of applause for Rakesh sir. Right, the next award in the commercial retail, hospitality, and IT workspaces goes to Casa Grande for Capital Land. Can we please have Jogendra Singh on stage to collect the award? This was a complicated deployment altogether because it happened in 5 to 6 different cities all at one go, and Casa Grande and Capital Land together have done a great job moving this forward. Final couple of awards in this category. Can I have the next award, which goes to Unify for Phoenix Palladium? Can we please have Nishit Lotia and team on stage? This is another deployment that's a long time coming. Right in the middle of COVID, when we had first spoken to Unify, they had said you should do this at Phoenix Palladium, but nobody goes to the mall because the COVID is on. And then eventually the robot went there, and now it's being used at a spectacular pace. Right, the next award in commercial retail, hospitality, and IT workspaces goes to Infosys Technologies. Can we have a huge round of applause for Infosys Technologies? We'll move to the next awardee in this category. Can I please have CBRE and DTSS on stage for Northern Trust Operating Services? Another fantastic story. Preeti Redhu from CBRE and Adnanjeet Singh from DTSS. In their absence, of course, can we have Prashant sir and Suvidha Singh please join us on stage? Thank you so much, Wilson sir, for giving away the awards in this category. The next category is a little special. One of the highlights of working at Peppermint and being at Peppermint at large is that we do work in different fields as well. Aside of cleaning, we also work in material handling. And for automation excellence in material handling, can I please call upon stage Akash and Kiran sir on stage to felicitate Nabeen Ghosh from Denso, Haryana. Sir, why don't you say a few words about how you've been using Peppermint at Denso? I know I've put you on the spot. This was not part of the plan, but I'll hold this for you.
Okay, so good evening all. First of all, thank you very much for Peppermint team, Ronaldson and other member. Sorry, in Japanese we call respected means son. So I'm very much glad to have here, and also like I could listen several speech in here. So just one thing I would like to say in Denso and Peppermint relation. So we started for kind of make in India concept in our company, because we are Japanese company, so we want make in India. So that was the journey where we started for cleaning robot through internet. Then after that, we could found that Ronaldson and team have a lot of potential, which is our MD and our senior member also appreciated. Then based on that, we collaborated. Then we make some kind of material, which is called AMR. And that is a kind of India's compact AMR. Now we are going beyond. As a Denso, we have almost 100 plan. And we are trying to expand this AMR by the name of Peppermint Make in India. So I would like to say thank you very much, and we will continue this journey forever. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. With that, we are right on cue to start our panel discussion. As the stage gets ready, we'll quickly bring on our panel onto the stage. Without wasting any further time, can we have the slides? So first up is the topic. So the topic for today's panel discussion is the automation shift, roadblocks and remedies for facility management automation. These are the questions you've been trying to ask us from the sales teams at robotics companies, and the answers that you've taken, and therefore you've gone ahead and started using robots as well. So without further ado, I would like to bring up on stage our moderator for the evening, and that's Bharti Singh Kalappa, who's head of facilities at Noida International Airport. Mind you, we are T-minus 40 or less than that for Noida Airport, or the sleepless nights don't make you remember the days that are remaining. Fantastic. Please, ma'am, I would suggest you take the seat right in the middle or at the corner, whichever works for you. Right, can we have a mic sent to Bharti, ma'am? Up next, our first panelist for the evening. Can I have up on stage Vimal Ladhaji, who's the CFO at PSIPL? Can we have a huge round of applause as Vimal Ladha sir comes on stage? All right. Our second panelist of the day is Atul Singh Chauhan, HOD Housekeeping and member of the leadership team at Taj Lands End, Mumbai. Can we have a huge round of applause to bring on stage Atul Singh Chauhan? Keep the applause going for our third panelist of the evening. That's Mishi Sahai, who's lead facility management at Adani Lucknow International Airport. Can we have a huge round of applause for Mishi ma'am? All right. Next up is Vikrant Panchavatkar. He's AGM Business Excellence at Mahindra Logistics. Please give a huge round of applause to Vikrant as well. I'll take a pause here. Can we have a huge round of applause for the diversity of the panel as well? And we are looking at somebody from an airport. We are looking at somebody from an Excel sheet, if I may just exceed my remit, considering he's the CFO. We've got Atul sir, who at a hotel now, but has past airport experience. We have Mishi ma'am from Lucknow. And I make this joke every time I meet Vikrant, so I must make it public, is that Vikrant sir is from Mahindra Logistics, but he truly embodies that spirit because he's always in a car on moving. So this is like one of those rare occasions that you see him in one place and you get to hear his wisdom.
Living logistics in true sense, always on wheel.
Never in doubt, Vikrant sir, never in doubt. With that, our penultimate panelist of the evening, we have Nilesh Kanakraj, Senior VP and Business Head at Newmark India. He's traveled all the way from Bangalore and he's forbidden me from making any traffic jokes. So, welcome Nilesh sir. Right, next up on stage, our final panelist for the evening is Kinjal Radia, Deputy Cluster Director at Nexus Select Malls. Huge round of applause for Kinjal sir. All right, the floor is yours, Bharti ma'am. Please go ahead.
Thank you so much, Miraj, for a beautiful introduction of all of us. And first of all, I would like to say thanks to Kiran and the team to inviting me over for this particular panel, especially as a moderator. Now I get that where it comes from. However, as you all know that we have a group of professionals who are versatile. They have a different product line, the profession which they are working in. But again, since the topic is here, I'm going to start the questions that way itself. And this is the second time in this year I am a moderator. Otherwise, always I sit this side. So I hope I will do the justice. Please bear with me in case I make some mistakes. So without wasting a minute, let me go to the financial officer itself. So, see guys, we are all facility managers. We all have lots of wishes. And we would like to bring technology. We would like to do something different. But then the gentleman like him wears a different hat altogether. They are responsible for some other scope. So I would like to hear from you, where do you see this innovation or automation from your lens?
So I think I am the odd one out in the entire room. And everybody is looking like scaring me. So from the CFO's perspective, it's a good question that how I look at the numbers. So when we hear the word automation, it definitely excites everyone, including us. But the first question comes, where is the numbers? So that is the first question we are going to ask. And especially if I compare automation in facility management industry vis-a-vis other industries, the facility management automation ROI is totally different. It is not automatic. So suppose if I have to take a decision, if I have to lease a car, it's very simple. You have a proper calculation, it's a history. But for facility management, if I have to invest somewhere, there is no historical data can work for getting the ROI. So even if you have to take historical data, those may not work in your case. So it's a little complicated, but still it is doable. There are few concerns when you think of automation in facility industries, which is the first one is high capex cost. Because when you go for any automation, the initial investment is too high. you do POCs, so a lot of us do a POC, and the solution worked very well in the POCs, but when it comes to the scalability, a lot of time it fails. That is another challenge. The third challenge which I see, the proper data maintaining to succeed the outcome. So even if the solution is good, but the ownership is not there. And because of that, the outcome is not what we are expecting. So accountability has to be there when you put an automation. That is thing. So these are few concerns. Now with that, how it has evolved. So now it has moved to a value side. So value side is like earlier the automation is sold as it's a cost reduction. So everybody was talking of cost reduction and manpower reduction. But if you ask me now, it is a further, it's a cost optimization, risk management, and how do you keep your asset uptime on the higher side. So this is the movement has happened. Further, like if you ask me, if CFO from my head side, if we have a defined KPIs for this any automation we do, it's a phase investment and measurable milestone, it can be succeed.
Absolutely.
So further to now we have moved from like the question is whether we should automate to where should we automate, how we scale up, and how we realize the true value from this automation.
Absolutely. So as rightly said by Vimal, I think we should have such open-minded financial officers with us also. So any financial officer sitting out here, anybody who's responsible to approve the finances, please listen to FM team, and measurable is available. In fact, the team like robotic, they all have options of giving that data along with the facility manager. So with that, I would like to ask question to Atul. So he's a hotelier, he was a hotelier, and he's still a hotelier. In between, he took a break with the airports. Knowing about robots, so there are challenges which a hotelier faces, you know, to bring in the technology, or maybe any profession. I mean, you can talk about your past experience, also any challenges you have faced and which is actually acting as a roadblock to get the innovation and automation on platform.
So, to be honest, the biggest roadblock what we face is the fear. Not the fear of resistance, the fear of job loss. So, currently, it's been 9 months I'm working at ISCL. And if we talk about the automation in hospitality, the biggest roadblock which currently exists and has been existing since so many years is the Indian hospitality concept itself. You know, even the guests who come to the hotels, they see the human touch, the warmth, as the cornerstone of the success of the hospitality industry. And there is some kind of resistance to change which is existing in the philosophy of Indian hospitality currently. If I talk about the workforce point of view, so I'll talk where it all began. So it started with the automation at Ahmedabad International Airport, where I was working for 3 years. And we started with IoT-based sensor systems in the washrooms to give the triggers to the associates, the attendants, in terms of whenever the ammonia level was spiking more than the threshold. And then later on we shifted to the robotics. In fact, Ahmedabad International Airport was the first airport in the country back in 2022 to deploy a large fleet of robots, the cleaning robots. And we did it with Peppermint. And I still remember the morning when me and Heaven from Peppermint team, we got this fleet of 10 robots, Peppermint robots there. And one of the senior attendant from my team, who has been mopping the floor longer than even few of the robotic manufacturers have ever existed. He came to me and he looked at this robot and he looked at me and said, "Saab, ये तो लग रहा है हम सबका job ले जाएगा." So this was the question which was asked to me. So real automation starts not with the vendor demos, it starts with this particular question. So that was the roadblock which I experienced, and how we counteracted it. We deployed two strategies there. One was communication, and second strategy was inclusion. I think this is the best remedy for any of this kind of roadblocks which comes from the workforce. So in terms of communication, we called the entire team of attendants. We told them, it is here to support you, not to replace you. And later on, over the days passed, and they realized that actually it was supporting them. So rather than doing the repetitive, monotonous and tiresome job of floor cleaning.
So the fear.
Yes,
the one has to come up the fear. Okay, the person who thinks it's a lose of, they may lose the job, and that's what
so
it
that
is.
was not the case. In fact, we included a few of the members of the team to take care of these robot operations. So when inclusion comes into the picture, they see themselves not as bystanders, they see themselves as the stakeholders. And that's what happened. Then instead of asking the questions, will I lose my job? They started asking the questions, can we do something better? I still remember sitting with my team, and the team said, this robot, we have to put it on the charge for 4 hours, and it is running for 4 hours. So it is just giving a productivity of 50%.
Absolutely. So it is like how we drive a car. I mean, earlier it was a बैलगाड़ी, I think cycle, और उससे पहले वाला जो भी stage था. But then the cars, the automation, everything brings up, it's just change. Somebody said about the change. So it is the change management is required in the practice. With this, thank you so much, Atul. With this, I go to Mishi. So Mishi, airports, I understand you both are and were on the same airport, like Mishi is with Lucknow Airport, and Atul was with Lucknow Airport. So this is how the combination works, and they both are seated together also, I don't know why. But then airports are a different entity altogether. It's a dynamic environment where kuch bhi hota hai, it goes to social media. A passenger slips, he will put that I slipped because of XYZ reason, because of the airport. So all those things. So how do you, what I understand from all of you that you have already deployed the robots there. So what journey you have gone through, and you both have gone through, in fact, can you cover up some which Atul has missed, please?
Thank you, Bharti. Since we both are from the same background, the automation is not about technology. It is about, our operational confidence that comes with automation. Absolutely. Because as we know that, she rightly mentioned that airport has a very complex environment. There is increasing passenger experience, especially once the airports are, into privatization, people expectations are more. We have 24/7 non-stop operations. We have, the 0% tolerance for inconsistency at the airports. Anytime anything that goes wrong directly comes into the eyes of the passengers traveling, comes into the eyes of the leadership. So shifting from labor-intensive jobs to automation was basically a support that we were giving to our team. And automation basically is not limited to robotics only. Very small automation that is behind the scenes is like, suppose we use, dosing pumps for our cleaning agents. That has reduced the amount of work or the spillage or wastage that was being done by humans, to a very specific level. And there has been an increase in the productivity of those team members. Because earlier there were storekeepers. Now we don't need people for that errand job. That's been taken care by automation. So they are looking forward, and they have been, up to the I should say,
Absolutely.
graduated
Yeah.
to the level of, still operators. So in airports also, it is no longer that people are, yes, initially they were scared of their job loss, or they were scared of whether the automation will take care of the peak hours, because anything that goes wrong comes into the eyes very quickly. So I would like to say that it was automation journey was not more of technology. It was more of the operational, the evolving of operations with the airport facility.
So what I get that, Mishi, I would like to say that you are saying that basis the demand of the operation is the technology introduced, it was adopted, and it is being followed. It is nothing new, but then it in different zones, it is growing.
Absolutely.
It is, yeah.
And it is not only what is visible, is important. There are many automations that are done behind the scenes and are, day to day, they are very productive and helpful for the operations.
Thanks, Mishi. So I go to Vikrant, my another panel member. So what I understand, he is a part of business excellence part, and the business excellence is something which they are never satisfied. They are today at one particular level, and they would like to be on a different level. That's how the projection and the thought process goes. So this robotic journey in your particular workplace, how it had been, and what was the journey all about?
Yeah, as you rightly said, I would like to call it as a continuous improvement, the journey of continuous improvement, because there is always a scope for improvement. And if I have to reflect back when exactly we started looking for a housekeeping and then autonomous solution in midst of COVID, when everybody was under the pandemic and there was a scarcity of the manpower. So luckily when we approached Miraj and team over there, so we did our first POC and pilot in midst of COVID when there was a scarcity of manpower. So basically that calls out for the, as we rightly said, the necessity is mother of invention, correct? So with that particular spark, basically we started looking this as this subject can it be automated. So when we started basically to evaluate on this particular project on three more important parameters, that is quality, cost and delivery. So first with the quality, basically since we are trying to establish the correlation with the human efficiency, so it's important to have the consistent output as with respect to the what exactly being delivered in the current scenario, so that the level of cleanliness and the 5-year standard should not get hampered with, first to start with. Secondly, it should have a continuous productivity throughout the shift. In case of manpower, as we know that there will be a shift in terms of their productive output. At the start of the shift, we might have their energy is full, though the output might be high. But as the days progresses, specifically after lunch hours, it is bound to have a declining trend in the productivity. So automation per se calls out for that particular requirement. Coming out to the cost part. So basically, as rightly said by Ladda sir, basically cost is imperative function. Obviously, it has to deliver the profitability over there, and IRR and payback obviously has to be there. But what exactly is currently stopping automation is basically the capital intensive, or let's say capex requirement, huge capex requirement. If suppose we have 300 plus locations and we want to automate everything, if I have to calculate on the capex expenditure, it will be huge. So we have to go for the cost innovation per se, wherein exactly can we go for a OPEX kind of a monthly REVEX model, right, wherein exactly it will be, the entire capex will get distributed over the life cycle, so that it will not be an upfront burden, and we can directly compete it with the existing cost where exactly it is incurring with respect to my manpower investment over there. So, so that we can, let's say, deploy the same manpower over for some other productive work, rather than as sir was telling that there is a fear whether they will lose their job. So we can assure them that it can be then further deployed. And lastly, means I will not take much time there, but on the delivery part, basically what we have to ensure that the consistent support even after, let's say, installation and commissioning, post-project support, and what is the fear basically, what if the robot goes under breakdown. So if we can turn around that particular reaction time for the breakdowns or let's say any of the maintenance activities, and I'm sure Miraj and team is doing fantastic job on that part. They have a comprehensive maintenance packages. So we have to further innovate on that part, how exactly we can make it more realistic and more affordable as well.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So I was just about to add that definitely the efficiency which we are talking about, the quality which we have talked about, but then to maintain the robot itself, there's a human which is required. So there's nothing, the jobs will be to be feared off, but yes, it will enable us to do things better. That's how it is. So my question will be to Mr. Nilesh. You would have done what interaction which he had sometime before this event could start. You've already deployed robots in your facility earlier. So you would have seen their operation, you would have seen their efficiency, which we just talked about. So what do you think, who drives these efficiency dashboards pertaining to their productivity? Is it the head of the unit? Is it the facility manager? Or is it the person who's actually using it? So please give some insight about it.
Sure, thanks Bharti. See, if you look at it, I think the usage predominantly and the analytics which are involved in terms of measuring the efficiencies. I think the ownership lies three-pronged. I think one, firstly the operations manager probably owns the KPIs, the analytics, the scoring, the scoreboards, right? The second is in terms of the supervisor, basically who probably takes ownership in terms of the supervision, task allocation and task completion. The user, end of the day, for him is execution of tasks and ensuring efficient execution of tasks. So it's a combination of all three. Ownership has to be a combined ownership. It doesn't lie with one individual because it's a combined effort. Where each of them have their own roles to play, and that's where I think one important thing here is I think the training, which when the machine comes in, I think when it's installed at the site. It's important that every level of the team at the site is trained on that. Right from the supervisor to the facility head and to the operations manager as well. Because end of the day, I think it's a combined responsibility to ensure that automation works at the site, and and it's important to have the analytics. Like I think today Saji was mentioning about, and how they have this competition. In fact, unit of measurement should move from man hours to the square feet cleaning, right? And as facility managers or as facility organizations, for a long time I think we've been talking about moving a contract model from a cost plus model or a manpower based model to a square feet based model. And I think it's time that we adopt that into the the cleaning services and use that as a measurement in terms of looking at the contract models going forward.
Thank you, Nilesh. So what I get from your conversation is all about that, as the gentleman said, we have to treat them as human. We have to induct them. We will have to train them. I mean, we have to have our manpower trained about how the operation happens. In fact, the mapping of the airports, the robots have to be done for the area. Then again, the maintenance, we have to be the care guardian, because a product can do well once it's taken care, right? And we should not expect the wonders also from them. I mean, they are growing, they are growing, they are also adapting. With that, I have a question to my last panelist, which is Kinjal. You're the first one to deploy the Peppermint robot in your mall, in one mall, and then multiplied across India. So you have experienced it, you have lived through the entire Peppermint journey. I'm sure you would have given your feedbacks also. This is not right, why don't you do it? And I'm sure, knowing Kiran and team, they would have definitely tweaked it, because their facility I have visited, I don't know how many of you have visited. So what message would you like to give a facility manager who are rightly sitting here about this robotic or maybe automation or about the product?
Sure. So I would like to tell here, if you feel there is a need of technology, and if some technology can replace your repetitive work, then it is the solution. How we came across this thought was very simple discussion over a call with my colleague Nilesh, who could not make it today to this forum. But we believe in the consumer experience, customer experience, because when consumer is walking to a retail space, they are not going to a retail store first, they are subconsciously breathing, seeing, and experiences the kind of environment they are walking into. We wanted to create that wow moment when someone is entering. We don't want to say people here feel pity about person is cleaning the entrance while they are entering the floor and while they are exiting the floor, saying that ये बेचारा 9 घंटे से एक ही काम कर रहा है, उसके पास करने के लिए कुछ नहीं है, right? So that's where the thought started. We came across this solution, we deployed. Honestly, it was challenging because initially when you do the mapping and all, it gets right over the period. There are some areas which is still left and which will be left for the people to refine. So people, those who are handling that machine, it is an elevation for them. They are not cleaning the 90% of the area, but they are cleaning the 10% of the area. Absolutely. So their job become easy, and relatively we are non-operational during night hours, so we can take care of the entire flow without deploying more manpower. Again, same manpower can be utilized during the daytime. That's how the journey started. We deployed first in Pune and then we multiplied across our centers. We are using it since 2 years now, and trust me, it's beautiful product. Again, the hyper model, what we see here, hybrid model, what we see here is like, from the size of the mall, smaller to larger. We have got 5 to 20 machines, that's the range. We have deployed only 1 machines at each of the malls. So to take care of the facility, not to make heavy on the capex side. So in all, when we look at the solution, it is bound to come. The sooner we adopt it, it is good for us. Ultimately, malls are moving from operations to now consumer experience and community building.
Perfect. So Kinjal, you said one thing very interesting. You said everything interesting, but one thing touched me, that you saw a person mopping the floor continuously and then you thought for it. So this is the intent is required from all the facility heads in charges, that you see your team doing this and you want to save him, or you want to upgrade him, you want to introduce the mechanized cleaning, whether it is automation, which is not. That's a very good thought, and everybody sitting out here who's FM expert should do it. With this, I just want to ask a quick question, but don't take too much of time, panelists, because I have someone already showing me eyes. So the first question to you, so this question is a rapid fire, and it is the same question to all of you to just answer. How do you see a FN operator not adopting to automation after 5 years in comparison to someone who has adopted it already?
So 5 years after,
quick answers.
Yeah, after 5 years, it will not be a technology gap, it will be a margin gap, because the person who is using automation will talk of value and the person who is not using will talk of cost.
Thank you. Over to Atul.
I feel the person who has adopted it will still have the problems, but the better ones. And the person who has not adopted will have the same problems, but less time to fix them. So
Perfect.
That's my thought.
Mishi?
I think the FM who has adopted automation is a proactive, will not be running behind the complaints. Whereas the FM who has not adopted automation will be running behind the complaints, the basic ones, after 5 years also.
Perfect. Yes,
yeah.
Vikrant.
Today, automation is a choice. After 5 to 10 years, it will be a compulsion. It
Absolutely.
will be a routine hygiene. Today, we are struggling with, let's say, penetration of the automation across the industries. But 5 years down the line, it will be a compulsion, it will be a routine basics, which we have to start from day one.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Nilesh?
Yeah, I think it will be a similar case like your Nokia BlackBerry versus Apple. someone who uses automation is going to be the apple, and the others are
Absolutely.
going to be left behind in the race. So it's as
Absolutely.
simple as that. Yeah.
Yeah, well said. Thanks, Kiran.
So for me, automation is something like, every year iPhone 17, 18, 19 changes, and we keep on evolving with the automation. That's how it will evolve with us.
The latest model. Perfect. So thank you so much, panelists. I mean, it is great to have you guys here with me. And over to Miraj.
Thank you so much. Once again, can we have a huge round of applause? I'll recommend all of you stay back. And I'll bring upon Kiran and Prakash sir, who heads our international business, to felicitate the panelists and our moderator. Our first panelist, can we have a huge round of applause for Vimal sir? Final panelist of the evening, Angel sir.
So Kinjal was my junior in college. We shared rooms in hostel. It's been a journey.
And of course, the final award to be felicitated towards Bharti ma'am, who's our moderator. Thank you so much.
I know Kiran for a short time, I should say, or long time, I should say. But the gentleman has that positivity. He may have team working behind him, but then he's such that in case if there's a problem, he can fix it. So when I was in Bangalore International Airport, they got their product to us. It had undergone not the approval. Let me be very clear. It had undergone, I don't want to use the word called rejection, but it was not approved by me. I was the only lady who said no to it. However, when I saw their journey, they have been tweaking things. They have been correcting. They have been taking inputs. They have been trying to deliver the best on the floor. And today, when I see them, it's not that I was disconnected since then, but I've been giving my feedbacks to him. And today, when I see them, I'm really proud of this particular company, Peppermint. And soon, definitely, I'll give you some task, which will be a challenge. If your team can solve it, nothing like it. You will be there with us. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And a huge round of applause for Bharti ma'am. you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. All right, we'll move very quickly on to the final set of awards for the evening before we move to dinner and cocktails. With that, can I bring up on stage Shoival Bhattacharya from Newmark to give away the next set of awards? Can we have a huge round of applause for Shoival, sir? The awards that he's going to present are from the Healthcare, Pharma, Life Sciences and FMCG category, and the first award goes to Impression Services for Nestle India Limited. Can we please have Vinod Bhavishkar, Brijmohan Jaiswal and Prakash Das on stage to collect the award? The next award, Shoival sir, there are a few more awards. Before I announce the next winner, I must share that they took the last possible flight they could from a sales review in another city, flew in, and will collect the award and probably fly back later this evening, hopefully. Can I have Parmanand Sindhi on stage to collect the award for Sodexo for Sun Pharmaceuticals? Award goes to Nestle India Limited. Can we please have Mr. Vikram Bawle to collect the award, please? We'll move to the next award. The final award for this category goes to Torrent Pharmaceuticals. Can we please have Munjal Trivedi to collect the award? Can we have Jigar to collect the award on behalf of Mr. Munjal? Can we have a huge round of applause for Torrent Pharmaceuticals? Are in the category of industrial manufacturing and warehousing. Can I please have Ruchita Mishra come on stage to give away the next set of awards? Huge round of applause for Ruchita ma'am. For the first award, can I please bring up on stage Amit Patel from HK Enterprise for ArcelorMittal Nippon Steel. This is the Hazira side. Huge round of applause for HK Enterprises. Ruchita ma'am, please stay back. We have a couple more awards to give away, actually a few more. The next award, this is a special one because it took probably the longest time to get approval, and when it got approved, they started using robots like nobody's business, and that's why they are a winner today. Can I bring up on stage JLL and Sila for Schneider Electric India? Anybody here from JLL or Sila? All right, we'll move to the next award. Can I bring up on stage Mr. Milan Modi to collect the award on behalf of Yokohama, India? Can I have a huge round of applause for Milan, sir? last award in this category, couple of awards in this category, I'm sorry. The next award goes to Shudipto Nayak for Hindalco Industries. Please. He's come all the way from Singrauli. Can I have a huge round of applause for Shudipto sir and a round of applause for Hindalco as well. Ladies and gentlemen, the names that you hear are Thank you so much, Ruchita ma'am. We have one award left that you must give before I take your leave. The last award in this category goes to Updater Services UDS for Tata Motors Sanand. Can I have Shatrughna Bivade and his team on stage? Can I bring up on stage Mansha Kichlu from ISS to give away the last and final set of awards? Can I have a round of applause for Mansha ma'am? The category is Public Infrastructure, Government and Education. First award goes to GLS University Ahmedabad. Can I please have Jigar come on stage and collect the award again? Very, very quickly. And our final award of the evening goes to Service Master Clean SMC for Chanakya University in Bangalore. Can I have Simanchal Behra to collect this award in place of Digvijay and Kanaiya ji? With that, we come to the very, very end of this event. But before that, may I please call upon stage Runal Dahivade to give the vote of thanks to take this forward.
Check. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Firstly, on behalf of all of us at Peppermint Robotics, a very, very heartfelt thank you. It's a weekday. It's been an evening. I think the stalwarts of our country are in the house. Right from the first, Mr. Ashish, it was a pleasure to set the tone for the evening all the way to all the winners of our National Cleaning Championship. Very quickly, I would like to flag that this was possible because a lot of thankless nights by a lot of people here in the backdrops. Thank you so much, Kiran sir, Miraj bhai, Aditya. On that note, I must also share that events like tonight do not happen because of any one single person, fraternity. A thank you for all the members who took time to be here. Trust us, this enhances the knowledge bank of our country towards automation. And I must sincerely thank once again to our keynote speaker, Ashish sir, for our distinguished panelists, to the National Cleaning Automation Championship winners. Together, all of us and all of you have elated every conversation in the room. Once again and finally, thank you to each member who has taken the time for the evening. And we keep building, keep pushing, keep ascending. We'll see you in the next Ascent event. Thank you so much and have a great evening ahead.
Thank you so much, Runal, for setting the tone for the second most important event of the evening, that's dinner and cocktails. So I must share that there are 2 or 3 things I must flag before you proceed for dinner and cocktails. First is, a lot of you would have taken photographs. before you entered the event. Those are printed and kept ready, if not already delivered to you. So my suggestion is, if you're heading out, before you pick up dinner, you can also pick up your photographs or take photographs in the meantime, and we'll get them printed for you immediately. We also have a couple of stalls with some information from Peppermint in case you'd like to peruse that. Aside of that, it's my pleasure to say thank you to a few people who've probably made this event possible, and that's first the hotel. They did a fantastic job. They had an event earlier on today. So thank you to the hotel. The second is, of course, the guys at the console and the event management company that keeps making all of this happen at a much faster pace and easier pace for us who don't know event management. So a round of applause to them. And none of this would have happened with a large Peppermint team that was not in Bombay, but in Bombay for the last few weeks and getting all of this in order. So thank you to every member of the Peppermint team who has made it possible, right from our sales team and our operations team. And you'll have seen our robots zipping outside. All of this takes a lot of work. We just make it look easy. Thank you so much. Have a great evening, and look forward to having lots of conversations over dinner and cocktails. Thank you, and have a great evening.